Alright, just making a quick video talking about these 12 volt portable fridges. And this isn't going to be like a review on this particular model, but more of a talk just on some of the design factors of why I like this model. And so this can apply to basically any brand fridge that has the compressor on the top. So as you see here, a lot of the 12 volt fridges that you will actually see on the market, the compressor is actually down in the bottom corner, right? And there's a lot of disadvantages to that and a lot of advantages to having the compressor on top. So I just wanted to kind of talk about those in this video real quick, because if you're looking at getting one of these fridges, and you just want to have it for like a day trip or something like that, and then this video doesn't necessarily apply to you. In that case, you probably just will want to get like whatever fridge you can get the best deal on, right? And whatever one is kind of like the right size for you. Especially if you're putting it into like a smaller vehicle, size is probably going to be a big factor. But if you're looking at having a fridge that's something that you can kind of like rely on if the power is out for like a couple of days, you want something that's actually going to work right, and actually work good. So that's just where this design of having the compressor on top really plays a big factor. So there's actually like three main advantages to this design. And the fridge I had previously to this was just kind of like the standard layout, compressor on the bottom, bodega. And that fridge, I ended up returning it. But it did teach me a lot of lessons and kind of made me really take a look at the design of these things and really think about what's going on, right? So the lessons I learned from that fridge is just when you have the compressor at the bottom corner there, the compressor puts out a lot of heat, right? So that's why they have like all these vents and stuff on them, because you want to kind of exhaust that heat. But the thing is, ultimately, when the compressor shuts off and the fan inside there shuts off, that kind of blows out the heat, there's still a lot of heat remaining like inside where the compressor's at, right? And that heat is just going to rise up. I mean, that's just what heat does. It's going to rise up, and if you got the compressor down here, guess where that heat is rising to? It's rising into the unit, right? So you usually have those units have a hump, where the compressor is inside the actual fridge. And so that heat's just going to rise up into there, and that causes several issues, right? Several problems. One is obviously just efficiency, right? Basically, that heat from the compressor is going to rise up into the compartment, and then the fridge is going to turn back on to cool that off and remove that heat, right? So obviously that's just bad for efficiency. And then there's also another factor, is that these 12 volt fridges, unlike your normal full-size house fridge, there's no fan inside here. There's nothing to actually circulate the air and distribute the air and make the entire compartment reach an equal temperature. So what happens when you have like that hump, the heat's rising off of that, you're often going to have that area that sits on top of that hump where the compressor is. You're often going to find that area is like between like 5 and 10 degrees warmer than the actual rest of the bottom of the fridge, right? And so that can just almost make that part of the fridge unusable for perishable items, right? So just another con. So really, if you want to stuff a whole bunch of perishable things in the fridge, you got to kind of factor that in, or you'd have to try to like really drop the temperature, right? So that that area above the hump can kind of stay like, ideally below 40 degrees, right? And then another factor that just plays actually a really big role as well in efficiency is just take a look at this lid. The first thing you can kind of notice is that it's a lot smaller than a lid would be normally, right? The lid would normally go like span the entire top of the unit. Well, guess what? Every time you open that lid, you're letting more cold air out, you're letting more warm air in. right? Just because that lid is larger. So by having this compressor on top and just having this smaller opening, you know, it's still plenty big enough to reach in. I don't really find an issue with stuff being like under the compressor area because it's only like 6 inches or so. You know, like you can reach in there no problem. So just doing that, like, and in fact with this unit, you can almost leave this lid open and it makes like very little difference. You know, obviously it's still better if it's closed, but you know, if you're taking things in and out of this fridge, it's not really an issue that lid stays open, right? So that's just another big factor. And when you combine those two factors with you know, not having the heat from the compressor rise into the compartment and then just letting less heat in every time you open the lid, that can really add up. And this unit I found actually uses like less than 300 watt hours a day. You know, in like a 70-degree room with the thing set at like about 38. So that's you know, if you got even a small power station, right? I mean, even like a 500 watt hour power station will be able to run this thing for an entire day, which is just great if the power goes out. And then you don't have to worry about, you know, trying to power up your fridge, but you'll still be able to have refrigeration, right? So, and then obviously if you have a larger unit, this is, you know, you can run this thing for a couple of days, and that's without getting any kind of, you know, solar charge or anything, right? And then the last actually a little benefit is, and I actually had to use that with this fridge, is that if you do need to service this thing, so this thing I actually you know, I had it testing, and I was testing it for an extended period of time just to kind of see, you know, what it's going to be like while it was still under warranty, you know, because like I said, I want to be able to rely on this thing if I do need it. Is that I actually had one of the connectors come loose, and this thing, you know, it just stopped working. Well, with this compressor on top design, like, there's just like a couple of screws, and you can just pop this hood right off, and it makes servicing it super easy. So yeah, I mean, it literally took me 5 minutes, pulled it off, and noticed that one of the connections had come undone. So that's definitely something that's a lot easier to get at than if, you know, it's stuck down at the bottom of the corner of the unit, right? All right, and then I just wanted to make a quick note. You know, if you don't want a fridge with the compressor on top for whatever reason, or if there's just a certain brand you're looking at, there are some other brands that offer a solution like this. This is the Bouge RV. Bouge RV has got a couple of fridges like this, but there are a few other brands that do as well, where they basically don't have any cooling area like directly above the compressor, right? So this is going to be, the compressor obviously is still down at the bottom here, but you know, as you can see in this case, they got like this nice little storage box, right? But some units just like, they literally don't have, like, this kind of space is just unused. But that's still a better design than having like the fridge, the chilled area above the compressor, as I talked about. Yeah, so hopefully someone finds this interesting or helpful. And yeah, thanks for watching.